You're unbelievably more wise in your nature than you ever will be in your conscious thoughts. Because behind your conscious thoughts lies your nervous system. And if you say, well, my nervous system is unreliable, it is just a bunch of strange, weird biological chances that have got mixed up somehow, then this very opinion that you're expressing, you see, is a function of that nervous system. So you're saying that you are a total hoax. You can't trust yourself at all. And the meaning of this is that one should, above all, trust human nature in the full recognition that it's both good and bad, that it's both loving and selfish. A man of true virtue is therefore a human-hearted man.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to IIUM Brilliance in season number 6, episode 6. And this episode we talk about combating sexual abuse among children through education. And welcome to IIUM Brilliance, where we explore secrets to unlock potentials. And our very goal of this show is to basically diving into the mindsets, insights, and the ingredients of success of IIUM very own high achievers. And this could also include in the fields of education, intellectuals, and also academic. But most importantly, we are very honored to actually invite over to our show people of IIUM community who have significantly contributed to the development of our show, our society throughout their works. So basically, we have in 2016 we have been shocked by Reuters report that there are 13,000 cases of child sexual abuse being reported. However, only in that, but that was in 4 years' time. That was since 2012 until 2016. However, in that 4 years of time, only 140 cases being convicted. And this number has brought fears to us as parents of this generation and also parents of the future generations that follows. Because imagining the great challenges that we have to face in protecting our child and seeing their development is such a challenge. So, however, we are very honored and we are very grateful that there are organizations who are working very hard in abducting, in combating and fighting over these cases that is severely happening in Malaysia. So today we have our special guest, Sister Firzana Redzuan, who is a child advocacy, and also she is is a founder and also a director of Monsters Among Us. And welcome, please join me in welcoming Sister Firzana Redzuan from Kuliah Ibrahim. Kuliah
Icon. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us too. And today, when we are talking about sexual abuse among children, can you tell us that? Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Sister Firzana, for joining us, and welcome to IIUM Brilliance. From your experience of handling over the cases that you've heard, and also you have been a student leader since your foundation years, and also you are very active also in ALSA, Asian Law Students Association, and now you are the founder of Monsters Among Us. Can you share with us what Monsters Among Us is and what it does?
So Monsters Among Us, or better known as MAO, we are a group of really passionate young adults who believe in upholding children's rights, and we are a group of angry young adults against predators and people who are in authority who are not doing their responsibility in protecting our children in Malaysia. But basically, we're an NGO, but we are proud to say that we are Malaysia's first youth-led NGO that focuses in combating child sexual abuse in Malaysia.
Ah, what about how many of you are there, and how many years has it been since the first time you established it?
We started in 2017, but during that time, it was just it started as an event. So the symposium that we organized was called Monsters Among Us Child Predator Symposium. But we had a really packed 8 months worth of campaigning to lobby the issue, to do all kinds of approaches and means to just get the word out there. So basically, the symposium was the peak of our whole 8 months campaign. Since then, we decided to make ourselves into an organization, and just recently we got registered under the Registry of Societies. So we are legally functioning as an NGO. When we first started, even though it was my idea, because at that time I was the president of my law society, so I decided that we should do a symposium to address child sexual abuse. But the project itself, I was supported by at least 30 amazing and dedicated team players, and going into our third year next February, I have 5 crazy friends with me in the main board to continue pursuing our journey lah, to combat child sexual abuse.
Oh, that's amazing. It is very young but very, very strongly based.
Mm-hmm.
And you're very lucky to have a very great teammate.
Definitely,
Crazy
yeah.
teammates.
Yes, I agree.
And for in that symposium, who do you deal with? Is it only the adults or just the children or people of higher education?
For the symposium in 2017, during that span of time, Malaysia just introduced our first Sexual Offences Against Children Act. So it was very much legally oriented. However, we had an NGO partner who was with us. They are Protect and Save the Children, or better known as PSC. So they are Malaysia's first child rights NGO that focuses on advocating for protection for children. So they're not charity-based NGO. They actually have rescue teams and all sorts. So they were the ones who were advising us for the symposium. And the target that we have for the symposium was to address different young adults to empower their role as child protectors. So we had the legal perspective, we had psychological perspective, and we also addressed from the education perspective.
Huh. And okay. Well, so there are a lot of people involving in that. So okay, let us have a break and stay tuned. We'll come back after this. wabarakatuh. Welcome back to IIUM Brilliance, combating sexual abuse, child sexual abuse through education. So, Sister Firzana, thank you so much for information that you gave us before. For when you first made a move, what actually motivated you to found the organization, and can you share the journey of you and your team when you were developing it into where it is today?
Okay, that's a lengthy question. Motivation firstly. I think
Motivation.
I have been naturally interested in issues relating to children because like once upon a time I wanted to become a doctor, so I wanted to specialize in pediatrics and it's on children kan.
Yeah.
Tapi macam tak pandai maths, so I had to pursue other career paths. But even as a child I was very much intrigued by criminal investigations. So I think the amount of TV shows and documentaries that I, consumed as a child, molded my interest in sexual offences. So, and I think I was fortunate that my mother was, she was the first person who exposed me to, sexual abuses and involving children. So, it didn't come in my later years. It started when I was a lot younger. But since in 2017, I had the chance to organize something big, I took the opportunity to go into child sexual abuse lah.
What about the challenges? I mean, of you and your team in developing it to where they are today.
Challenges, I wouldn't say it was a gruesome journey in 2017 because we had a lot of support. I think one smart move that Monsters Among Us took was to partner up with important stakeholders. So we started with the NGO partner that I was talking about, and during the 8-month campaign, we also explored different kind of events. So other than just going to schools and have sex ed talks, we also organize art nights dedicated for survivors, and we organize small forums and invited youth advocates, youth activists themselves to talk about the issue. So exploring this new areas were a lot easier because we collaborated with different people from different backgrounds. So the challenge was to probably get people to come, because when it comes to child sexual abuse, it's a very specific topic. We have children, then there's child abuse, but we are narrowing it to child sexual abuse, and probably not everyone can relate to it, but that's only because they don't know or they are still unaware of the severity that child sexual abuse is impacting our community. Because when we went to each school that we went to, at least one child would come to us and disclose that, akak, saya pun pernah kena kot dari abang saya, or like my boyfriend. So these things are happening, but because it's still a taboo in our community, people are not talking about it and they feel they are distant from the issue. So when we do an event about child sexual abuse, macam, where do I come in? Where do I play my role in this event? Diorang mungkin rasa benda tu tak relatable.
So when there are a lot of cases when people start to acknowledge that that happened to them, did they actually come to the authority to talk about that?
In most cases, and the ones that came to us, they did not opt for reporting it to the authorities. Because one, support isn't there. Second, they had no idea what happened to them was a crime, because we're talking about 5-year-old, 7-year-old kids who are sexually molested by an adult, thinking that it's a game, or thinking it's it's normal for my father to do this to me, because a child was not told that no one can touch your private parts other than people who want to keep it safe and clean. So they don't go to the authorities, or they don't go to the police, only because they think what happened to them was normal.
So while And also, the works of your organization, does it really, I mean, it really emphasizes on prevention of sexual abuse through education.
Mm-hmm.
And in your experience, what are the best approaches to educate children in or the public about children's rights?
Okay, so your question
Uh,
is in regards to two groups, children and the public. So I'll
mm,
address the children first. When it comes to children, it's all about talking about it now and talking about it often. Talking about what? Talking about sex, talking about pregnancy, talking about healthy and unhealthy relationships, talking about safe and unsafe touch. If you don't start at an early age, sampai bila? But might as well you start when they are young, when diorang belum tahu konsep malu lagi, instead of waiting for them to reach puberty, and by that time they'll be too embarrassed to share to you. So that's why the concept that we always hold on to is that you talk about it now and you talk about it often. You don't need to make a specific lecture for the children to absorb, about sex ed. It can be done in bits and pieces, but it has to be done consistently. So, and never underestimate a child's capacity to understand. They will. And they will have the most outstanding, outrageous responses, but that only shows their curiosity. And as adults, we have to address the concerns, the questions, the puzzles that they have. If we shut them down at an early age, they will not open up to us, and they don't come to us when they have problems. But to educate the public about child sexual abuse, as a youth activist, one thing that I've learned in the past 3 years is that when we organize our programs, we have to not think about us. As activists, we do things for our beneficiaries. So we might think that we need to organize a 5-hour workshop with these children, then only they can learn about their sexual body parts. But that's not really it. Probably they have other more prevalent urgencies that we have to address, and that's where we come in. We don't go into the community thinking that we know what's right for them and what's wrong for them. So as as an activist, when you address the public, look into what the public needs. Look into the demographics that you're going into. If you're going into a kampong, you don't talk about, women should be given the rights to be invited to a panel, and we shouldn't invite male. They wouldn't be able to relate to those things. We go there, we talk, we ask whether what do you have enough money to get food on the table for your kids? Is your husband helping you? So we have to be more sensitive to the surrounding that we want to enter into. Because like it or not, even though we have noble intentions, we are still an outsider in these communities.
yeah.
We still need to know what do you really need and how can we help you. They might not want, they think that we think that they need the money. We think that we need to give them beras lah, pampers lah. Probably they want capacity building, self-defense ke. So in educating the community, look into where we're going, address their problems, ask, then only we suggest to them what is right, what is best for them to take in, and not just assume, we know what's right and you don't know. Macam tu lah.
And I think about addressing about this situation. Actually, I think from before, governments have already tried to teach about sexual education in schools from pendidikan jasmani and kesihatan. But people don't. But most teachers, when they had to be, when they are not put in the right shoes, they had to those the only relief teachers, they have to take over class PJK, and they don't teach all those stuff. And people think that this is not necessary. You can learn from your mother, but then their mothers are not there to teach them. Their mothers are very busy for that. And also, when we talk about its prevention, so what are the 3 things people must know about child sexual abuse, and your advice on its prevention?
First things first, child sexual abuse is not just rape. Everywhere I go, I will always repeat this. We normally get shocked by, crazy headlines. atuk meliwat cucu 100 kali selama 3 bulan. That affects us. But we often forget about the abuses that are happening in our homes, in our schools on a daily basis. Child sexual abuse is a huge area which includes flashing your private parts to a child, talking dirty to a child, sexting with a child, showing pornography, asking the child to follow acts in pornography. So, as the public, as the mass, we have to learn to not just be easily affected by crazy headlines. Look into what's happening in our schools. Are our children safe? Are teachers using the right code of are obeying the proper ethics in handling children? Because right now we see a lot of teachers posting pictures of their students and posting it on social media.
Yeah.
If you look into a lot of children policies, you're not supposed to do that. So those things, if we neglect, it will lead to more detrimental issues lah. So first, child sexual abuse is more than just rape, and we have to sensitize ourselves to it. Secondly, children will always be curious. So like I said earlier, you should never shut a child's question down. Address. If a child wants to be in a relationship, ask why. If a child wants to get married, ask why. Janganlah macam, no, you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to have sex. You're supposed to wear the tudung and just go to school. They will always have their own wants. How, as adults, how do we lead them into making informed decisions?
Yeah.
Dan ketiga, kita tak boleh, we can't remain chill lah as adults. We can't just think that the government's going to save save us. We can't assume that the hospitals and police officers are trained enough to handle these kids. As a university student, what can we do? As a cousin, as a kak ngah to our adik, what can we do? As a pak long to our nieces and nephews, what can we do? We can't just remain chill and assume that the world is safe.
True. All right. Okay. Let us wrap up for now. We join us again. Please stay tuned and come back for a commercial break. welcome back to IIUM Brilliance, where we explore secrets to unlock potentials. So now we have been talking about the taboos and the reality of our society. So, Sister Firzana, can you can you explain on what are the ways in embracing the taboos and make it something that is educational because the taboo is on sexual education, and what are the ways in embracing it?
First of all, instead of embracing the taboo, we have to make it not a taboo. So it's all about shifting our understanding and what we think sex education is. So obviously we have to learn more about the issue, and because sex education is a huge topic. It doesn't just talk about how do adults have sex. It talks about consent. It talks about healthy relationships. It talks about pregnancy and how do you family plan. Um, like I said earlier, if you don't start talking now, it'll only just get harder in the future. So, as people always ask me, what's the best age to teach our kids about sex ed? The moment they have comprehension in their heads, the moment they macam faham konsep hidup ni, the moment they can grab certain concepts in life, that's when you start teaching them sex ed, because when you teach them sex ed, then only they can protect themselves from being a victim of child sexual abuse.
And talking about when we want to embrace it, no, we want to talk about it. What have you done throughout the 3 years of 3 years? Has it been 3 years already? Yeah. Throughout 3 years of MOU, what have you done?
A lot. And because we know that the needs of the society is very different. Some people feel that a seminar would fulfill them. Some don't like seminars because it's boring. So we try our best to make our events to be as youthful as possible, because we are the youth and we want to empower that mentality. So just recently we came back from Penang. We had our road trip to Penang, and we had five events. We had a workshop on child sexual abuse. We did an art night. We did a public peaceful walk in Georgetown. We had a mamak session moderated by a person from Minda Kami.
Minda Kami.
Yeah. And the last one, I forgot. But basically, we did a lot. And Penang is just one of it. Also in April, we had our first charity theatre. So we explore different means to talk about the issues, because some would be able to absorb issues in the form of art better as compared to just having a panel of speakers talking about the issue. Some would feel that being in a participative workshop would be more effective than just watching a theatre. So we try our best to explore different ways to reach out to the community.
And when you were in Penang, you invited Minda Kami to collaborate with you. Why Minda Kami? Who are they actually?
Minda Kami is also a youth group that focuses on mental health issues in Malaysia. They are actually quite known on social media because they do a lot of mental health awareness, and I think that everyone should be part of their initiative. And we were lucky enough to have one of their members to moderate the issue, because we wanted to link child sexual abuse and mental health, because a lot of our survivors struggle with mental health issues. They have PTSDs, they have insecurities issues, they go through depression because these issues are not dealt with professionally. They don't seek professional help, and it's just a lot of self help, self healing. But when it comes to mental health issues, there must be a certain extent of professional intervention. So we wanted to focus on that because child sexual abuse and mental health, it doesn't go separately, it goes hand in hand. And we wanted to address that survivors, though they are struggling with the traumas that they have to endure with, but there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and if they seek help, they inshallah they are able to heal from their traumas lah.
Mhm. And when you also dealt with the kids, how severe are they?
Most cases that come to us are cold cases, and cold cases are instances that happened to them probably 3 years ago or like a few months ago, and then the predator is no longer in their ecosystem, so they're safe for now. But we do have certain some children that would come to us and say that, my brother abuses me on a weekly basis, stuff like that. As Since Mao is comprised of only university students, we are not trained professionals, so we pass these cases to our NGO partners for them to handle the cases, because one thing that's also important about reporting abuses to the police, it doesn't end. You don't think you're a hero the moment you send a child to the police. Okay lah, let me help this child and report it to the police. Okay, dah done. I'm done. I saved a child today. That's just the beginning of hell. When you go to the police, there's always trips to the hospital. Who's going to take care of the child in the hospital if the parents are the predators? Is the child going to school? Are you willing to skip your classes, or are you willing to not go to work to help these children? So this arena isn't for everyone, and we should be honest with ourselves. If really we are willing to go to the last extent, to help the child, sampai pergi court, sampai dia go to enough treatments, then okay lah, go ahead. But if you think you can't, better not.
And when there are a lot of cases of children apa? When there are nearly 13,000 cases being reported, why only one? What makes only a small number of cases being convicted?
It's good that people are reporting it to the police, but normally when it goes to the police, the incident would happen 1 year ago, 6 months ago. So logically speaking, there's no evidence. But we should respect the survivor. If she or he thinks that by reporting to the police, I get the closure that I need, then we go ahead and we help them. But that's why it's important for the ecosystem to be supportive for the survivors. Because most of the times, children would try to tell to the parents, but parents would like, ya ke? Cikgu ada ke nak pegang yang bunga? Cikgu ada. They instill doubt in the child, making the child, okay, tak lah kot, probably I was just imagining stuff. But then it gets worse, then only the parents bring to the police, and by then it's already too late. But then again, I wouldn't say there's no hope. There are always ways to get a case closed. But when we try to help a survivor, it's not about getting the case closed. Faham tak? It's about how do we help the survivor to heal from the trauma? How do we support the family who is affected by this incident that has happened to their child? So it's the whole ecosystem that needs to be supportive for the survivor to be able to speak up and to be able to report for against the crime that has done on him or her.
And we are seeing more and more youth advocating crucial causes locally and also globally. What are your 3 tips for people who think they want to fight for a cause but they do not know how to start and how to make it last?
Okay. Firstly, get trained. Go to as many workshops, trainings, attend as many panel discussions, forums, sharing sessions that you can when you found an area that you wish to pursue. Like for me, I found child sexual abuse, and I think that child sexual abuse has an important part in myself. Therefore, I am investing my weekends to attend workshops, to attend talks here and there. Because if you don't get trained, you won't be able to do justice for the cause, because you only know a portion of it. While there's a lot more to address. There are a lot of other more important issues that we can go to, that we can focus on first. Second is partner up, collaborate, jangan ego, work with people, and don't be be selective, but be open to the differences that we have in our society. Because for now, we, other than collaborating with an NGO that was specifically working on child sexual abuse, we also partnered up with a production house. They were doing a theatre on pedophilia, we partnered up with them. And then we partnered up with different student bodies and different groups and initiatives that were also in the same cause for children protection. So, yeah. Dan ketiga, be honest lah with yourself. Don't do it for the gram. Because it's not easy work. It's not about, doing things that the audience would be, happy about. Do things for what the kids need, Don't do it for the gram. Please don't. I know we're millennials, but I have to say this. I'm also a criminal in this. I sometimes tend to, okay, I have to post this because I have to show what I've done for the society, but it's really not about that. Yeah.
Before we close this up, there is one most important thing that we want to explore on, which is to get to know about your mind. In getting to know your mind, we want to explore what are the things that make up your mind from your reading. So, can you suggest 3 books that people should read?
I have to be completely honest. I wish I was more. I wish I was a bookworm, because I know I would be way smarter as compared to now. But I do have some books that I've read. First would be After Dark. It's by Haruki Murakami. See, I don't even know the proper name. But it was the first Murakami book that I started reading, and it's not thick. Normally his books are super thick. This one is like comel je. So it's a good start if you want to go into his mind. It talks about people our age in Tokyo, and I think it was the first exposure. It was the first literature exposure on mental health to me, because it talks about this lady who was sucked into this paralysis mode, but actually it represents the person going through a mental health struggle. So that's one. Second, I brought the book. Campoyo na. So you guys should get this if you're into reclaiming justice for women. Read Access to Justice, Women's Experiences in Penang Sharia Courts. So it's not really a book. It's not like a novel, but it's a research done by Shariza Kamaruddin. I believe she's a lecturer. I don't consider myself a feminist. I mean, I believe in women empowerment, but I wouldn't want to claim myself as a feminist. But this book shows the many loopholes that we have in our society and even in our judicial system that we should address. And thirdly, Ombak Rindu. I read it when I was younger, and I thought it was the most romantic book ever. But I hope everyone gets to read it again now when we understand domestic violence, abuse, power distance in a relationship, so that we can compare it from what we understood back then, what was romantic dulu, and how it's not romantic now. So yeah, tu je.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Sister Firzana, for a very great insight and motivational facts. You are such an inspiration, mashallah. Okay. So don't forget so that is all for tonight. Don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and also our Facebook and Instagram. Well, thank you so much and goodbye. Assalamualaikum.